This is the NFAC. Armed, aggrieved, and increasingly visible.
Y'all know what our rules of engagement are, right? We don't point our weapons at nobody unless they point them at you.
Things that make you say.
The leader of the NFAC militia, Grandmaster Jay, has been arrested on federal charges after allegedly pointing an assault rifle at federal agents and LMPD officers during a protest rally that happened in September. These are the actual photographs authorities included with their court document today, allegedly showing the incident, according to police. Now, what you're seeing in the photos, Johnson allegedly pointing his long rifle upward at authorities who were on a rooftop above him. The criminal complaint claims Grandmaster Jay, whose real name is John Johnson, forcibly assaulted and interfered with federal officers on September 4th, the day before the Kentucky Derby, when the group was in town protesting. From our coverage of that day, this is Jay speaking in September about the event.
Protesters aren't orderly. Protesters aren't organized. Protesters are emotional. Protesters are destructive because people can sneak in.
Johnson is currently being held in the Oldham County Corrections Facility. He appeared before a federal judge at 4 this afternoon, and at the moment, he remains in custody with another hearing scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Johnson could face up to 20 years in prison with the current charges.
Things that make you say.
We want to get right to the breaking news. In Oregon, the weeks-long standoff between armed anti-government protesters and law enforcement turning deadly overnight. The leader and several members of that group are now under arrest. ABC's Neil Karlinski has the latest in Burns, Oregon for us. Good morning, Neil.
Amy, good morning. A dramatic and sudden turn of events out here overnight with no warning. As a result, all of the group's leadership has now been arrested except for one armed rancher who was killed here by law enforcement overnight. This morning, a shootout between the armed occupiers of the Federal Wildlife Refuge in rural Oregon and police, including the FBI, has left one occupier dead and another wounded.
Ammon Bundy, leader of the armed Oregon militia, delivered 10 hours of testimony and was acquitted of his charges. Jurors exonerated 41-year-old Bundy, his 43-year-old brother Ryan, and 5 others on charges stemming from their 6-week armed occupation of the Mueller National Wildlife Refuge in rural Oregon. The Bundy said they believed their 41-day standoff, which began January 2nd, was a protest for grievances against federal control of millions of acres of public lands in the West. Bundy told the court that the occupiers toted weapons because they would have been arrested otherwise, and they had to protect themselves against possible government attack.
We simply have to keep on trucking here and build on the tremendous victory that has occurred here today for our rights and for rural America.
Even attorneys for the defendants were surprised by the acquittals. Robert Salisbury, attorney for defendant Jeff Banta, said, "I'm speechless." Carlos Covarrubias, a Portland native, said, "They're basically giving a free pass to other militia groups that want to organize in Oregon and other rural parts of the United States. The ramifications could be dangerous."
Things that make you say.